Hello, you incredible friends. This is your pal Edwards here speaking with the amazing digital expert, designer, website leader, Victor Tavitian. Victor Tavitian, welcome. How are you today? What's going on in your world?
Edwards here, man. That was quite the intro. Thank you very much. I just had some coffee, and then got a call from Ed. Said, "Hey, let's do this live stream and let's talk about some digital design websites and June." So I said, "Look, I'm there, man."
Yeah, because no one will relate to this, but Victor and I are both into video games. And right now, you just purchased a new video game, Victor Tavitian. And what is that video game you decided to purchase?
Spice Wars, June Spice Wars. So I played about I think half an hour of it, and then obviously work got in the way. So here we are now. Talking about
there you go.
instead of playing it.
And just so you know, that's June's Spice Wars. June, as in the movies and the books by Frank Herbert, the June franchise. And personally, into video games, I only play one video game right now, and that's called XCOM 2: The War of the Chosen, multi-billion-dollar game franchise. I just can't imagine anything better. Like, did you ever play the original XCOM, Victor?
I did. I played the original XCOM, then the Terror from the Deep, which was the second one, and then also I got a couple of the new ones, but I think the Bureau one, the XCOM Bureau one, which was pretty cool. I played pretty much all of them except I think I got number 2 as well, but it was like I was too old by then to really have the mindset to complete it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, Victor, I'm too old. I don't have the time or the mindset, but I just do it anyway because I just love XCOM 2 so much. There we go.
It's a cracking game. I was actually looking into they have a Xenonauts, which is Xenonauts 2, which is like a remake of the classic. Have you seen that before? Or?
No, but I heard Xenonauts is a spiritual sequel to XCOM, which I find amazing.
Spot on, yeah. So one day maybe that's on the purchase dreams.
But do you want to know what my favorite video game is, Victor Tavitian? You know my number one favorite video game?
Which one, Edward Zia?
Microsoft LinkedIn. There we go. LinkedIn.
There we go. We're playing the game right now. You and me.
And we are playing LinkedIn right now. If you're watching, you could be watching this from Facebook. We're streaming to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter X. And if you come in, connect with Victor Tavitian. Now, Victor, first thing, you are a handsome Aussie like myself. But I understand. Married. But you live in Vietnam. Tell us about Vietnam. How did you go? How did you wind up in Vietnam, Victor?
Well, long and short of it was I had a mental breakdown, and then my wife said, "Let's leave Australia because it's too much right now. Let's say hi to mum and dad, my mum and dad over in Saigon." And I said, "Look, sounds like a great crack." So we went over here and been here for a little over a year now, and it's been going really great.
Wow. And what city do you live in? Tell us a bit more. I got a lot of Vietnamese clients in Australia. And what city do you live in and what's it like there?
Sunny Saigon. It's quite hot right now. It was burningly hot. We had to put some reflector on the back of the scooter so we didn't burn our asses when sitting down. But yeah, it's fantastic. Food is great here. People are lovely. Yeah.
There you go. Now, Victor, I'm just so you know, if friends, if you come in, smash that like, share, and comment. I'm actually got my phone right here to keep track of all your comments. So if you come in, just say hello. Now, talking about business now, you're a digital expert, a design expert, a website expert. You and your wonderful wife, Jess, run a business called Tokyo Studio. Tell us more about business-wise about what you do for people. And again, just as a case in point, you've done a lot of work for our clients who love you. Please tell us what you do professionally and how you help people, Victor.
Yeah, sure. So we take people who have I guess, anything from a starting concept of a business idea, and we take that, put it into a program, and put together a plan for their business that creates an online presence for them. So that includes everything from just having a website up to social media posts on your LinkedIn to maybe some video stuff that's telling a story about your product or about your brand. But it's basically crafting a story about the brand together with the individual who has the great idea of how they're going to make a business happen online.
Yeah. And again, as well, protecting privacy, of course, you've done a lot of work for a stack of our clients. And the thing, everyone loves you and Jason. And I think the biggest thing you've done really well is, you're absolute digital experts. But what I find that you guys have done very well, you're really good at understanding the brand essence, or how can I say, you're very good at understanding the personal brand of someone and translating that into an online experience. Now, I had a lot of trouble with this originally Yes, we all have our own personal brands. Yes, we know what we stand for, but sometimes it can be so hard to translate our idea into a personal brand, especially online. How have you guys been able to cross that chasm and do it? Because so many people try and succeed online, they all fail. How come you guys get it? What's your skill? How did you pick it up? I'd love to learn more about it.
Yeah, look, that's an amazing question. So I think that what we're able to do is maybe sit down and listen to people a lot. So sit down, hear a lot about what their dreams are, what their aspirations are, what they're headed for, and then because of our, I guess, experience of seeing failures with businesses online, we're able to go, look, here are some things that are going to work for your business, absolutely, and here are some things that might be some pitfalls to avoid. So in your ideas, so taking that essence of what it is about their hopes, dreams, aspirations, and kind of going, well, this is what's marketable about that, and here's what's not, and then here's how people are going to access that product that you're selling, is maybe how we come up with I think a winning formula in those terms of things. Yep.
I like what you said there. And in a way, this is where even though what we do is quite different, right? I'm a LinkedIn networking guy. I love what you said there. And I think this is why one of the reasons why we get along so well. You're saying that, okay, so you'll talk to someone, you'll spend hours if necessary with them hearing their story. So you're very good at picking out the aspects of them that is part of the winning formula. Tell us more about that approach.
Yeah, I think it comes from just finding really interesting people who are looking for websites and branding. So there's I think a lot of people know John Kirkhoff, for example. He's a guy who does some pretty incredible work with vets in America.
And just to jump in, John Kirkhoff is one of our friends from Virginia. He literally used to be a drill sergeant in the US Army, basically full metal jacket. I shouldn't say that to you being Vietnam, of course. You're in Vietnam, right? But I could make this. I don't even realize this then. So do you and John Kirkhoff go to the same barber? It's like you've got the identical hair design and beard. So do you and John Kirkhoff like copy each other? That must be true.
Yeah, look, we will regularly give each other fashion updates and keep in line with that. So it's one of the things that we really enjoy doing. Smart. John's project was pretty amazing because what he does is a twofold kind of thing, right? He takes military vets who are looking for jobs, positions them in the right spot to win those jobs, connects them with the right companies. So that in itself is like an amazing thing to do for someone who's looking for a new part of their life. And then on the other side of things is he consults with small to large businesses in the US, helps them do everything from develop their grant process for hiring vets, to retaining vets, to all the policy procedures, and even the interviewing process, everything to do with people retaining vets in the workforce in America. And I think that's a noble cause, and also one that he does very well. So that was a fun project to do that one.
And I love your savviness, because I can just tell by your language and I suppose you're a serious businessman, you get it, is that, and this is actually an interesting point. This is, I suppose, a really good reflection on you and Jess, which is amazing. Yes, there's a lot of people who are digital experts, right? We got that. But you seem to be one of those rare types of people that you understand business and digital. So in other words, you can look at a man like John Kirkhoff and you can instantly pick the unique points of difference to express in a personal brand. And that brings me to one of my core questions, right? Now, I say this to everyone. People should definitely reach out to Victor Tavitian and talk to him over LinkedIn. Great guy. And have a discovery session with you. But the thing I was going to ask you, to anyone watching who is having trouble understanding what's unique about them, the unique selling propositions, or even just what they stand for, what's your advice to people to sort of find out what they're really good at and their focus there?
Yeah, I think maybe one of the first things I'd say is what you like isn't necessarily what you are. So maybe the people that you admire online isn't necessarily how your brand should be formed or what your story should unfold as online. And I think that's an important distinction to make. Because obviously the pitfall of that is you try and jump into someone else's shoes, someone else's skin. If you go too far on that one, obviously you get arrested. But trying to
Hannibal
be
Lecter,
something that
right?
yeah, that's right.
Well, is that a Hannibal Lecter reference? Because I'm a Hannibal
It
Lecter
was, yes, yeah.
yeah, just a tangent, just a random tangent. So 2 points. I'm a huge Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter fan. Also, totally irrelevant, but it's just a tangent. It was the other. I think it was Saturday night. I was just worn out. I had to work Saturday. I was worn out. I sat there and I watched Friday the 13th. Jason Does Manhattan. Have you seen Friday the 13th, where Jason goes to New York?
I've never seen any of them, to be honest with you.
I just want to say to you, Victor, and everyone watching, we highly endorse Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th. I think you'd like Friday the 13th, Victor. It's like comedic horror. It's like a comedy horror film, if that makes sense.
That sounds a bit like my life.
Comedic horror. Sorry, please carry on. I don't know how we brought up Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees. Please carry on.
No, you're good. Yeah, so I'd say make sure your brand is uniquely yours. I think this is something that you do very well, actually, Ed. And maybe there's something very Ed about everything that you do. That it's a thing, right? But I remember chatting with a few people going, and they go, "But this works for Ed," and then you're like, "Well, it works for Ed because that's his brand. That's his that's his swagger. That's how he rolls." But if someone else were to roll up in the same way, it just wouldn't come across well. So, I think that's important, is finding what works for you and then implementing that as core elements of what your brand is about and what your business does.
It's funny you say that. I was having this conversation the other day. Now, just so you know, Gary Vee, right? The New Yorker, and Gary Vee, right? Now, I'm not a Gary Vee fan, but I have obviously I have full respect for Gary Vee. It's amazing what he's achieved. But what's interesting is I don't know what it is. I don't know if people are doing it anymore, but for a while there, everyone was imitating Gary Vee, right? And they were trying to capture. They were even wearing that whole New York and sort of sock hat thing, right? That whole. You know what I'm talking about, right? What's that thing called? Like, it's not a beanie, but
with the kind of point on it, the old snowboarder kind of thing, or
exactly,
or the floppy thing.
It's kind of like a cross between a Turk. I'm an Arab, so I can say this. It's like a cross between a Turkish fez and a beanie and being homeless, right? It has this weird look about it, right? But there was sort of now for Gary Vee, that whole angry, in your face, abuse people brand is fantastic. There's a bit of Gordon Ramsay there, right? And I noticed a lot of people were trying to copy that sort of angry attitude, Gordon Ramsay-ish vibe of Gary Vee. And it was funny, I was saying to a lot of people, look, I have a lot of respect for Gary Vee and all, but you look like a fool. You got to stop trying to copy someone. Like, you're a nice person. This whole angry, abusing people on the camera is not working for you. Did you see much of that, Victor?
Of angry people abusing other people on the camera, or just flat, I guess, unintentional flattery? For people copying brands,
just people. I agree with you. People would just copy someone, and it just doesn't work. Like, instead of just being them and developing their own brand, they try and copy someone, they try and copy Tony Robbins. They try and they think they're Tony Robbins and try and copy him, and then wonder why everyone hates them. I like full respect.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Ed. Like, you see a lot of it, especially with people who are. I guess young coaches, and I don't mean that in terms of age, but I mean in terms of the business that they've developed. So they'll look at some people that maybe inspire them, and they'll copy the pattern of that, and then they'll look at their own materials and they'll go, "We're just not hitting the mark. We're just not hitting the mark. We have to hit this level." But the problem is that the whole path that they're taking isn't the same. Isn't their path. It's someone else's path, and so you end up going astray when you do that in any business.
And I like how you brought up your path. It's funny, so Ryan Roslansky is the CEO of LinkedIn, right? Ryan Roslansky, and and before he became CEO of LinkedIn, he was an A-listed business person. What's interesting, I think he's got a podcast that is called The Path, and it's actually all about following your own path. So I love where you go. You're a brilliant man like Ryan Roslansky. I agree with you because sometimes I used to be afraid. Sometimes we're afraid of following our own path, aren't we, Victor?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's so much easier when you've got a pattern to look at and kind of hop in the steps. It's like doing a presentation with a template and not changing anything because you think it looks too good. But at the end of the day, you're presenting someone else's work, and you're like, well, that didn't work for me. I don't know why, but it comes down to, well, it wasn't your work and it didn't suit you.
Yeah. So I love it. So I love where you're going. So I think a great sort of outcome of this LinkedIn live stream for anyone watching is follow your own path. Tell us a bit more about following your own path and how does that manifest in a digital environment?
Yeah, that's a good question. So how does that manifest in a digital environment for different people? So there are going to be some platforms where particular people do really well on. So like an Alex Hormozy, for example, has done significantly quite well on YouTube. But you look at his assets, his website assets, they're not great. They're pretty average as far as things like that go. And that's because his focus is on a particular social media or a particular platform. And same with LinkedIn. Some people are going to do really amazingly at LinkedIn and not so well on TikTok. So it's a matter of.
That's me. I don't even have a TikTok account. So I don't even have a TikTok account. So therefore I'm doing really poorly on TikTok.
Don't you worry. China has other ways of getting your information.
Don't worry. The Chinese. Well, they took over Vietnam, so I suppose, but you still call it Saigon, right? So you're not going to call it Ho Chi Minh City anytime soon.
Mate, you got to let Saigons be Saigons, It's in the
there
past.
You go, yeah. It's not Ho Chi Minh City. This is Saigon.
That's right. So I think that that's important. Is identifying what your core business is, not by reflecting on other people, but actually going, well, what do I have to offer that's of value, and then finding that platform that best suits the value offer and the value add that you have to give, because there'll be a lot of people on each platform where you go, wow, we really love this, or we don't love this.
Oh, Victor, brilliant. Now, Victor, I know I've interrupted you today to jump on this live stream. Thank you for joining us. And we'll finish up shortly because I know I've got to let you get. I know you've got
no rush. All good.
And Tu Din chimed. Now, Tu Din just chimed in. Tu Din's she's a wonderful Vietnamese Australian lady based in Brisbane. She's with ANZ. And Tu Din chimed in and said, it is Saigon. So there you go. So Tu Din's coming, it's Saigon, not this Ho Chi Minh stuff.
Jess would agree for sure.
There we go. So I'm with you. I don't know. I respect I respect who won the war. Like, whoever won the war. But Saigon just sounds better. Do you agree with that statement, Victor?
Well, I'm personally more used to it. So.
Yeah. Actually, I better watch it. You're going to have a bunch of commie guards come in and yank you out, and then we're going to see you on the news. So we love Ho Chi Minh City. Oh, yeah, Ho Chi Minh number one. Now, Victor, I was just going to ask you, right?
I don't want to get arrested today, Ed, please.
Yeah, we love Vietnam and we love the Vietnamese guy. Just a bit of trivia for you. I know it's another tangent. Actually, and Tu Din's watching. I actually said this to Tu Din. When I finished in the army, I actually went backpacking across Vietnam for 30 days. I traveled from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City over 30 days. It was a life-changing experience. I got to say, isn't Vietnam such a beautiful country?
Oh, yeah, absolutely gorgeous. You should come visit us here end of the year, hopefully, or early next year.
Now, I want to ask you, the total tangent question. Why? Now, I think Vietnam is awesome. Can you give me the top 3 reasons of why Vietnam is such a wonderful country? Because I love Vietnam.
Well, for me, it's my wife and child are here. That's 2. And I guess the third one are the grandparents are here. So that's 3. I think family would be the answer for me if you summed up in 1, but 3.
There you go. Very, very good answer. Very good answer. Well, I think Vietnam's great. I think Vietnam's full of wonderful people. The food's amazing. But you definitely need to invest in an air conditioner if you're going to live in Vietnam.
Yes, we've got 2 in this office actually, and the other some of our staff here like to turn one of them off and complain about me having 2 of them on.
Now, quick question from Tu Din, our Australian Vietnamese friend. She says, "So where exactly are you based, Victor? What part of Saigon are you based in? Are you near the CBD? Are you in a business hub? Where are you?"
We're How do I say the name correctly of the suburb? There you go, Phu Yong. We're in Phu Yong. Phu Yong. So it's a kind of businessy-ish nice place. kind of nice. Everything's kind of nice here, you know. So, but it's maybe about 10 minutes scooter ride from the CBD.
So you're like in the North Sydney of Saigon. Is that a fair comment?
Maybe it's a fair comment.
That's probably a terrible analogy. That
maybe, probably the locals here would go, "What are you talking about?" But sounds good to me. It's got over a small bridge, so yeah, let's take that.
Okay, yeah. So small bridge is a Sydney Harbour Bridge. Now, Victor, thank you so much. It's so good spending time with you. I'll leave you alone. Just before you go, can you please tell us how can people get in contact with you? And if people want to work with you, what's your process for getting started and everything?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously anyone's more than welcome to message me on LinkedIn. I'll respond nicely. Even if it's an offer to sell your services to me, I'm always interested in hearing a pitch. So no matter whose it is.
Life's
so
a pitch, right?
That's right. That's right. And yeah, you've got to admire the hustle, right? You've got to admire the hustle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first step with us is, just chatting about what your idea is, what your goal is, getting an idea of where you want to head, and then maybe recommending some of the ways that you can achieve your goals that make sense for where you're headed, I think. And then from there, we put together a quote, get working together, and monitor the project and watch you win.
Victor, thank you so much. I know you're a busy man. I'll let you get back to all your new onboarding. Everyone, you've heard it straight from Victor Tavitian. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Victor. Love your work, everyone. Stay awesome,
Thanks,
friends. Ed.